What's going on, everybody? FireGhast here, giving you another AskGHAST. This is coming off the heels of the other one, and a lot of editing. I did not sleep tonight. I have a lot of editing to do, a lot of work with other videos and whatnot. So if this shows up in your sub feed and you're subscribed, please don't unsubscribe. Basically what happens when you do YouTube, it makes total sense. It's kind of unfortunate, but basically, like if you make a series that a lot of people went to, which is like the Three Houses randomized, and then you do something else like a week later, everyone who was like into that series now doesn't want to like stick around for a bit, so they unsubscribe. So because of Make a Fun Chapter and because of the Make a Fun Chapter, just because it's so much, it's pretty different from the other stuff. I checked my analytics and I lost, I don't know, I was at like 580. I think I might have lost 100 subscribers in a day, but I think that's painful. Fair enough though. It's kind of not great, but if you're watching right now and you're still subscribed, thank you so much for sticking around. You guys are lifers, which is pretty sweet. Anyway, we're gonna do an AskGHAST today, and we're just gonna give her. Okay, so Bernadetta von Varley asks, why is Constance the best thing to ever happen or ever to be made by humans? I think Constance is a very fun character. I think she's really quirky and interactive. I wouldn't say I wouldn't even say dynamic. I guess kind of dynamic. I really like the personality swaps that she does, and that's definitely something I've never seen before, where she literally changes her portraits. Yeah, expect some yawns today for this one. Tew, who is your favorite character in all the games you played? Garrick Support Science. Curtis LaChance, how are you? I'm doing okay. You know, could be better, could be worse. Captain Bravery, how the heck did you get the Jaywitz to join the charity stream? That was an awesome surprise. Jaywitz and I actually go back a few years. When I first made the Echoes reaction trailer announcement, he actually commented on that video, and he was like, "Oh man, you're the first person I thought of," or whatever. And I was like, "Holy cow, Jaywitz actually watches my stuff." And then we actually like bonded over basketball because we both really like the NBA. So then we chatted ever since. We've been friends ever since, and like we'll DM each other whenever like ball's going on and whatnot. So that was pretty sweet. And yeah, we're just friends. And I asked him, and he was down for it. He thought it was a great cause, and the rest is history. Noah, Balthus, pass or smash? I would smash Balthus for real. Yeah, he's a pretty handsome dude. I respect the hustle. Seems like a reliable guy. I'd smash. Joker Butler, how old are you? And when did you get into Fire Emblem? I'm 27, turning 28 in October. And when did I get into Fire Emblem? Probably 2000. Yeah, I'd say 2003. Basically, like when I knew Fire Emblem was a thing from Melee, and then I went for it. Least favorite game by JesusCon69. Least favorite Fire Emblem game and why? I would say my least favorite Fire Emblem game would. Last video really turned some heads and raised some brows. So I would say my least favorite Fire Emblem game would be probably 6. I mean, I've been pretty public with me saying Fire Emblem 6 is my least favorite. And why? I would say I just really felt that FE6 was like kind of boring in a lot of aspects, and I know that the translation, the very, very early original translation that I played, I don't know if there's a new one, really kind of oversimplified. I don't quote me on this, but I was told by someone else who I actually expressed his opinion to that the translation was really, really oversimplified, and it really kind of took away from the characters' personalities. So I think maybe I'm not really giving FE6 a fair shake, but in terms of like gameplay, I really was not into FE6's gameplay at all, and that was kind of a dagger for me. Was FE6's gameplay being kind of you know, not good. I'm really too low for frame here. I have to raise this up a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Moving on. Top 3 least favorite FE characters. Oh my god, why are all these questions like hot takes? I'm gonna lose everyone. Least favorite Fire Emblem characters. I would definitely say Perry is one of them. Never really been a fan of Lowen from FE7. Azama, not a huge fan of him either. Kid Icarus Uprising, never played it. Ishan Fat Student. Do you think Fire Emblem Three Houses maps design is hindered from the fact that we replay the same maps over and over again? Many people enjoy the Remire Village chapter / defend / attack Gehrig Mock chapter because those maps aren't auxiliary maps. If you worked for intelligence systems, how would you improve the map design? I know most part 1 maps have anti-turtling side objectives, but what more could be added? Oh man, okay. I have to turn on my thinking cap here, my thinking brain. I've seen this criticism kind of come around a lot, and I'm not super, like, I see it, but I never really felt like the maps were like super repetitive. As far as Ox maps, like you can just turn on auto battle and just go to town. I think what makes the maps really feel repetitive is that it's not, I don't know, this might sound weird, but I didn't really mind it my first 3 playthroughs, but then I started kind of getting burnt out by it in like the other few playthroughs that I did, even if it was on different routes, just because the differentiation wasn't super significant in some parts. I didn't really mind it. I see that argument come around a lot, but I think when some maps do have different map objectives and different layouts, it does help a bit. For example, I want to say in Mercius, yeah, Mercius is a pretty key one. Like in Dimitri's Mercius, you have him having to defeat the Death Knight at the very top of the map, and then you can kind of explore the map and have fun taking over fortresses and whatnot. But in Verdant Wind, the Death Knight has to be defeated and then he runs away, or he gets hit and then he runs away. But at least like Nadir shows up, and I think the small differences there really help with like the sameness of some maps playing through. But for the most part, I didn't really have a problem with it. And if I worked for intelligence systems, how would I improve the map design? Oh God. That is a tough question. I think one thing about the maps that I would try to improve would try to like ease up on the turn events that occur in the map. So I actually highlighted this in, I want to say my chapter 17 review of Gronder, rip that series. In maps where events trigger by hitting a area event trigger, that's what it was, I think. So basically, if you get to a certain spot in the map, an event occurs. And generally, the design, the idea behind that is so you can sort of experience the story at your pace, if like within the chapter itself. But the problem you come into that is you can turtle really, really easily, because the map will literally just be still until you decide to do a certain thing where the map just decides to continue again. Whereas turn-based reinforcements or turn-based events, they will pretty much control your tempo or influence your tempo to hustle it up, which is something that I like to do in my maps when I'm designing Fire Emblem maps as well. So I would say if I worked at intelligence systems, I would try to like cut down on the amount of event-based triggers and area-based triggers. Comment down below if you just yawned, because I just did. That's a sign of empathy or something. Since we aren't asked this enough, what are your 3 favorite dinosaurs? Oh man, dude, I don't know. I can't answer that question. As a kid, did you play Nintendo games, PlayStation games, Xbox games, or any combination of the 3? I grew up with Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, NES, Game Boy, and then mostly Nintendo. And then I actually got into PlayStation like way late, my first PlayStation console was at a pawn shop in my university town. Not the one I live in, but like where I went to university for the first time. I actually, oh, fun fact, yeah. I transferred my midway through my second year to another university. But my first university, I went to a pawn shop and found a PlayStation 2 for like 50 bones, and it was pretty sick. Has there been a game that made you cry? If so, which game? Shadow of the Colossus? Hoi. Hoi, lad. Yeah, the waterworks are working there. Backup question, how do you change Fates' story to make it better? Oh, God. Where do you start? There has to be like 30 videos on that. I think first things first, like maybe making Corrin way less naive. Having some subtlety in the story would help. Maybe having characters kind of like argue with Corrin more or like confront his naivete. Oh boy. That's what I would do. That maybe those would be my 3 starting points. I haven't paid attention to Faith's story in a long time, so I'm sure people in the comments can answer that. Jason Matsk, out of all the Fire Emblem games with an avatar character, which ones do you think implemented it the best and the worst? Robin for the best, probably Corrin or Byleth for the. I want to say Corrin. I think Corrin might be my worst. I haven't played FE12 though, so I don't really have an opinion on Chris at all. But yeah, do you agree with Edelgard after playing the Crimson Flower route? I can like. I don't agree with like her idea of like starting a war. That's kind of bad. I don't know. I wouldn't really want to agree with someone who's like that. But excuse me. But if we're talking like, does it make sense? I would say like I would agree. I would understand why she did it. I would say I agree insofar that I can understand why she decided to do what she did. My answer to that question. Are there any Fire Emblem characters that you used to hate that you now like, or vice versa? I used to really not like Nyx, and then I did my research on her and I found that she was pretty interesting, and I made support science on her. Tharja I warmed up to. Alphonse is a key one. I used to really not like Alphonse, but now I do like Alphonse because he's been like making some power moves. He made lots of power moves in book 3, which really made me respect him a lot. His like back and forth with Hell and his like whole conflict as Leaf, and then he had to like fight himself, like trick himself and stuff. This story was pretty nuts. So I would say Alphonse is another big one for me. What part of Canada do you live in? The eastern part. Oh, the Atlantic part, actually. Seller McGee, do you have a daily workout routine? What does it involve? Okay. So my routine, usually it goes push, pull, leg. So I do like a 3-day split. And then I've been doing a lot more cardio lately just because the gyms are closed. Sometimes home workouts are hard to motivate yourself with. So I've been trying to incorporate more running in. So my workout routine is usually like push, pull, leg, and then cardio. And then throw in some core in there and whatnot. Amen, Santa. Amen. How much work and research goes into writing a support science, and how would you feel about other people making their own support science videos? It takes a lot of work. Man, I'll kind of give 2 examples. So one was like Reinhardt. So Reinhardt for me was kind of tough because he wasn't a actual playable character in the game, and I had to play through Thracia, and I had to like he was just tricky. So what I ended up doing is I actually took every single script of Reinhardt being mentioned and I printed it out, I hole punched it, put that in a binder, went to the cafe, bought nachos, and for like a week I would just go to this cafe, eat my food or whatever, and just like take a highlighter and highlight all the parts with Reinhardt, whatever he talks about, just so I get a super like in your face grasp on like what this dude's all about, because he was just kind of a different approach. Other characters like Tharja, I remember I took my whiteboard and I broke down everything about her and like super cross-referenced like all that stuff with her. Garrick was kind of an easy, because I was really partial to him to begin with, so for him it was mostly just kind of like getting into his supports and his moments in the story and just like going to town with that. Dimitri has definitely been the hardest, just because there's many scripts that aren't transcribed, like many story things that aren't transcribed with him. So for him, I had to play through Azure Moon. I had to record all of the footage ever. I had to, for the sake of research and argument, I had to, like type out the events in the event viewer so I have like a reference for when I make my arguments. The script is bananas long, and then when you get to the actual script and you write your script and you check it with your, I have 3 editors that help me with it, and they like make sure my shit sounds nice and clean. So I write it, they edit it, I write it, they edit it, I write it, they edit it, I write it, I record it, and recording is sometimes a pain in the ass, because if you're recording for like 40 minutes to an hour, sometimes you'll like stumble upon your words and whatnot. You guys hear me talk. I'm not really, sometimes I have trouble speaking, you know, I'll stutter. And after that part, you have to clean up and cut all the audio. And sometimes you have like 60 takes, or not, okay, maybe like 5 takes of saying the same sentence because you said it wrong. Sometimes I get so frustrated with my like whole big take, I actually restart entirely like the next day, because like I want to have it smoother, and it makes me sound less frustrated, or less like it flows better if I'm able to just kind of go longer while saying stuff instead of like making mistakes and having to make cuts in all the audio. After that, then it becomes the actual like editing and footage and stuff. And I find that editing videos for Fire Emblem, especially scripted content, is kind of tough, because you can have B-roll, but B-roll in Fire Emblem is kind of weird. Like, it's not like I can like talk about Dimitri and then have like a first person like perspective, it's hard for me. It's like it's hard to get B-roll for Fire Emblem is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, it's tricky, and you have to get. For me, I want to get creative with like my presentation and make like a super glorified PowerPoint, basically. I think like 90% of people. I don't know where I was going with that one, but basically it's tough. And would I be okay with people making other support science videos? Yes. I hope they don't use the name support science, you know. I hope they use a different name, but if I can inspire people to make their own character analysis, that's sick. I think it's great that people who get inspired and want to keep going. Yeah, I think it's a great idea. What are some series that you've been wanting to get into but never found the time? I love Secrets, Trials of Mana, the remake, but I still haven't been able to play it yet because I've been super busy, so I'm hoping for it. Who's my most favorite Fire Emblem Fates Royal? I would say probably Xander and Forrest. Xander because I really found his supports really, really, really good, and his character really, really good. And I know I made a big support science on the difference between like how he behaves in the story, but at the end of the day, I still do like Xander. And for Forrest, I never really looked into him too deeply, but I was really, I really liked his paralogue and how Leo had to grow up himself and had to kind of understand Forrest, and Forrest was able to kind of like show Leo, who is generally someone who's really like not arrogant, but he knows his shit, right? So I really liked that about Forrest. And yeah, I really like him. If there was a remake for every FE game, what changes would you like to see? Boy. I'll try to answer that later. Are you going to continue Path of Radiance or The Last Promise? I want to say yes, but I'm super flaky all the time. So I do want to stream Path of Radiance. I will say that I do want to stream Path of Radiance, but getting you to do anything is hard enough. So yeah, I just need to sleep. But thanks for watching. I need to shave. I need to do a lot right now. I need to get it together. I definitely need to get it together. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed this one. Glad you stuck around. Glad you're subscribed. Glad you're watching this video. If you're watching this right now, thank you for sticking around. And if you are considering leaving, I will tell you, give me a couple weeks. We'll do a round 2 of 3 Houses Randomized. It's going to happen. We're going to do a season 2. There's just waiting time in between these sorts of things. So with that being said, maybe they unsubscribed because I said Claude was kind of bland and people really got pissed at that. That might have been it. You know what? That could have been it. That's unfortunate. That is deeply unfortunate. Anyways, guys, deuces.